Most people solve mind problems with the mind and body problems with the body, when in reality you should be trying to solve mind problems with the body and you should be trying to solve body problems with the mind. Look at this picture. Arnold's muscles are telling him to stop. Arnold's muscles are on fire. They don't want to do more. His body's telling him, enough, enough, let's go home, let's rest. But Arnold's mind is telling his muscles, nope, one more rep, one more rep, one more rep. And that is why Arnold is Arnold. But the thing is, you can't use that when you're trying to sleep. Do you think that Arnold can get on his bed and be like, I will sleep right now. I will force myself, I will use my mindset and I will use my willpower to fall asleep? It won't work. So when I say you solve body problems with the mind and mind problems with the body, well, this is kind of what I mean. Arnold, after a solid day of work in progress of his goals, which is to be the greatest bodybuilder of all time, he relaxes his body. And in so doing, his mind relaxes and then falls asleep. And then he gets the recovery that he needs to actually build up. So let us follow this thread and learn how we can actually operationalize this and take action on it. First, I want to say, well, what's the plan? We will list the top 3 reasons why your brain can't turn off and the top 3 behaviors which will help you fix it. Let us continue to follow this thread and see where it leads. Why does it matter? This is a key point, boys. Key point, so extra emphasis on this, which is you write the check during the day, but you cash it in at night. What does this actually mean? Look, I just made a collage of things to explain this concept. So you can go to the gym, you can pump iron, you can move the weights, you can put in the volume, you can break down your muscle fibers. But when do you actually make the gains? Well, when does the actual strength and size benefits come in? Well, it actually comes in when you're sleeping, when you're in bed and your body is recovering. That's when you actually unlock the fruits of your labor. You cash in the check. And it's not just true for the physique, it's also true for your life. Like, what kind of skills are you trying to build? Because we spend our days working on stuff that improves our skills. But how does the skill actually transfer onto us and remain a part of us long term? Well, it can only be encoded in our long-term memory if we have good quality sleep. And they ran this experiment. They took a bunch of mice and ran them through this maze. And then they separated them into 2 cohorts. Cohort A didn't get a lot of sleep. Cohort B got plenty of sleep. Guess which cohort performed better on the same maze the next day? I don't even have to explain it because you probably know the answer. And with that, boys, let us continue to climb this hill. Ah, look at that. With skill and time and sacrifice and effort, it is possible to make something truly great. I'm gazing upon a painting of the Archangel Michael, composed by this artist by the name of Guido Reni. And I just wanted to show this off because I think it looks cool. All right, let's keep going. Okay, first problem. Overthinking and feeling overwhelmed. So this is the, I need to lock in, I need to lock in, I need to lock in perpetual cycle. Or I just have so much shit to do. It's just your brain's going crazy because it's just too many options. Anxiety, it feels like you're being stretched thin. It feels like your brain is dragging you in 10 different directions. You don't know which one to, you can't lock in because you don't know what to lock in on. Oh shit, there's something on fire. Look, I just want you to see this. Do you see that? There is something that's actually going up in quick. Okay, as somebody's home is burning down, let us continue our video and let's go downhill all the way to this. What is overwhelm? Okay, so overwhelm is a military term. I think I need to wear my sunglasses. The sun's getting crazy out here. So, as I was saying, overwhelm is a military term. What it means is your unit has been encircled and it has been cut off, and you're unable to fight effectively, and you're, most importantly, unable to move. You're unable to reposition. That is the military definition of being overwhelmed. And this, my friends, is the legendary Battle of Cannae, at which Hannibal Barca, one of the legendary generals of the world, really, was able to annihilate entire Roman legions by encirclement, even though his force was technically inferior. So anyway, let us continue to see what this means for us as flesh and blood mortals, not epic generals. So long as you're moving, you're not overwhelmed. Overwhelm is a choice by that definition. Overwhelm isn't about how you feel, it is about what you do. It is an observable behavior. All you got to do to not be overwhelmed is just pick the highest leverage item and get to work. It's that easy. Easy peasy. Now you might be like, well, I don't know how to pick the highest leverage item and get to work. That's a question of prioritization and strategy, different topic for another day. I'll just say this, that if you just choose something and you go with it and you do your best on that, it's still movement. And moving in the wrong direction is still movement. It's better than getting pinned down by the enemy. In a practical sense, what this means is, like, if you're allowing yourself to be overwhelmed, what it means is, like, you're allowing the fact that you have many options of things to work on to be the reason that you don't work on anything. So as long as you're doing something, you're not overwhelmed. And if you're not overwhelmed, you're moving. If you're moving, you're making progress. And that is what matters. All right, continue doing this. So how does this relate to sleep? Great question. Let's find out. And what we find after this long voyage is this exact journal. So behavior number 1 is called PTT. It's plan tomorrow today. And this is my exact journal which I use for this. I follow this exact word for word prompt. What 1 to 2 things can I do tomorrow to make my life a little better? All you got to do is crack open this notebook at the end of the day and think, well, gee, what 2 things can I do tomorrow which will make my life a little bit better? And it doesn't have to be a long ass journal session. It could be just 2 bullet points. And I just close out this with saying the best thing I can do for myself right now is to sleep, which of course is true. So it allows me to communicate with my logical and kind of strategic part of my brain. The reason why it's important is because, like, if you're watching this channel, right? If you're watching this channel, this video, like, think about this, right? It's not like mega edited. It's not meant to have massive retention. It's educational content. You probably are somewhat intelligent. Just saying, like, I'm not even trying to glaze my own audience, right? I'm just saying you're probably more intelligent than the average person. But the thing is, that's not necessarily an advantage, because it's too easy for an intelligent person to get caught in the trap of overthinking and overwhelm, because you just see so many options that it is hard to make progress. It's almost like you would have made more progress if you're slightly less intelligent. Now, the thing is, well, you don't get a choice. Like, your brain is your brain. So what you do is you have habits like this, which allow you to use your intelligence in a productive way and doesn't allow it to kind of make your life mediocre. So if you don't have time to do this, it means you really need to do this. If you spend 15 minutes, well, that's 15 minutes less for sleep, right? That's not good. But hear me out. You spend 15 minutes journaling before you sleep, but that cuts down your sleep latency. So imagine if you didn't do the journaling, you'd be awake at night in your bed for like 45 minutes. So which would you prefer? Staying awake in bed, stressed out, anxious for 45 minutes, or you spend 15 minutes and do your plan tomorrow today? Easy pick from my point of view. And let us continue our epic journey. So this is a recent one. So what are the 1 to 2 things I can do tomorrow to make my life a little bit better? Is record, edit, and upload the sleep video, which is literally what I'm doing right now. I'm recording this video right now. Second item was to work on the identity hour video, which is something I'm going to do immediately after recording. Bonus, now you can only have 1 to 2 core items per day, which is the standard I set for myself, which is like, if I can do 1 or 2 needle moving activities, like genuine progress, solid things, then I am making progress. And of course you can have bonuses. So if I make a YouTube post, then that would be a bonus activity that I can do for myself today. And I always end with saying the best thing I can do for myself right now is sleep. I'm just realizing this might be actually an important point, which is, if you're doing like 2 solid activities per day towards your goals, and for me and my business, of course, making a YouTube video is a high leverage task, then you are actually making progress. If you just did 2 solid activities per day for 1 year, that's 700 plus activities. Like, you don't need to do more than that to see progress. So let us continue on and find our action step. So this is the action step which I want you to do right now if possible, is I want you to grab a notebook, dedicated notebook for PTT, and put today's date on it and place it by your bed, so that when you are going to go to bed, you see this and you're like, okay, I saw this video which suggested I do PTT, and then you will take the actions, right? So every video that I make is going to have clear action steps so that you actually get the benefit. Otherwise, like, what the hell are we doing here, right? I mean, the point of me making this video is that it is not an entertainment piece. I don't want you to just watch this video and then continue to live your life changing nothing. The point is to change your observable behaviors in some way such that you actually see some benefit. So really, this is the distinction between education and entertainment, right? Education means that you've changed your behaviors. Entertainment means that you haven't. And I'm not trying to entertain people here. If I wanted to entertain people, I will join the circus. So let's see here. We have a fork in the road. Which one shall we pursue? Let's go for the top one. Oh, what's this? A tier list video? That's right. So I couldn't really fit this content into this particular video. I have made a separate and dedicated video talking about all the different things you can buy. So this video is predominantly about the behaviors that we can do, like actions that we can take to improve our sleep. But I do understand that like money is a useful thing. Money is just skill points. Like, you can invest money and then get things in return. So you can spend money and improve your sleep. And I will walk you through the exact items that are worth buying and what are not worth buying in that separate tier list video. So let us continue and find out what problem number 2 is. Problem number 2 is you're just laying awake in bed, playing out conversations and debates. If this is you, raise your hand. This is me. I will play out conversations. I will play out like YouTube scripts or like YouTube videos in my mind, and it feels productive. See, that's the thing. Like, if it doesn't feel good, we would stop doing it. But it does feel good. So if you're looking like little Jerry Mouse over here, I want to sleep, not to think, then let us go to the next slide, which is talking about the fact that you solve mind problems with the body and body problems with your mind. But the thing is, how do we actually do this? So I'm going to show you a technique called red-blue breathing. It's a little bit challenging to explain, but if you do it, you'll completely get it. You'll completely understand what I'm saying. So what you're going to do is you lay flat on your bed with your back to the bed. And first thing, you're just relaxing all your muscles. You're relaxing every single part of your body which is in contact with the sleeping surface. So you can feel the pressure on your calves. You'll feel the pressure on your thighs, your glutes, your back, your arms. And you first like kind of sink into the bed. Once you sink into the bed, you breathe like this. When you're breathing in, you're imagining cool, blue, healing air entering your body, cooling your body down, reducing inflammation, reducing stress. And when you breathe out, you're imagining red and warm air leaving your body, taking away with it the stress, taking away with it the anxiety, taking away with it all the junk, right? The debris of living life as a human being. And you keep doing this. So you take in blue, cool air, and breathe out red, warm air. This is a visualization technique. Of course, the air isn't blue or red, right? This kind of just tricks your brain into feeling relaxed and letting go of stress, which allows your body to actually relax. Now, what this is doing is it is taking your mind's focus away from these conversations and debates and strategy sessions, if you will, and puts it on the body, which is, of course, the breath. So you're yanking your mind and pointing it towards something which is actually relaxing for the body. Here's what I've done and has worked well for me, is as I'm doing that red-blue breathing, every time I release a breath, I will count up 1. And I'm just counting to 100. So every time in, out, I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 100. Most of the time, I never even reach 100. Most of the time, I'm sound asleep by the time I reach like 19. That is the goal, right? The goal is to sleep. So you're not trying to go as fast as possible. You're not trying to hit 100 at all. Really, you're trying to go as slow as possible. Do not reset to 0 if you lose count. So what I mean by this is like you're going to feel drowsy, which is the whole point, right? You're going to feel drowsy. And if you feel drowsy, you're going to lose track of your count. And if you do so, do not reset to 0. It just feels stressful to reset to 0. So what you do instead is you reset to the most recent number that you remember counting up to. So that's what you do. And if you do that, then you'll literally look like this if you did this method. Your world literally goes like black and white and you become this guy. So be careful with this technique. Very powerful. And basically this is what we want, right? This is the quote unquote dream outcome. This is what bad sleep looks like. And this is a screenshot taken from our Aura dashboard. So this bad sleep would look like the total sleep is low, 4.5 hours of sleep, just not enough. REM sleep is low, deep sleep is low. Latency is high. So 30 minutes of latency, which means that you're rolling and tossing and turning in bed for 30 minutes before you fall asleep, if your stats look like this. What we want to see is something like this. We want to see total sleep close to 8 hours or more. We want to see latency. So good latency, what is good latency, right? That's a great question. Good latency looks like 10 to 20 minutes. So in 10 to 20 minutes, you should be asleep. That's what good looks like. If it's less than 10 minutes, interesting. This is an interesting one. If I see that your latency is less than 10 minutes, especially if it's less than 5 minutes, I'm going to conclude that, man, like you are exhausted because your body is just going from wakefulness to sleep like this, that's not a good sign either. So latency is a balance. The ideal numbers are 10 to 20 minutes. And with that, how do we know all this, right? Because we are, like I said, partnered with Aura. It took us a long time to build this out. So we gain a full understanding of your sleep and recovery, and we deal with the data so that you don't have to. And all you need to do is really you just wear a ring, and we might even be able to get you a discount just based on the location. Problem number 3 is missing the sleep window. For many people, this is the single biggest one in this entire video. So this is a fairly accurate representation of how my energy levels look like during the day. Up to 6 p.m. I have pretty good energy. But after 6 p.m., of course, I've had my main meal of the day and I am starting to feel drowsy. I'm starting to feel tired. And I can still work. But by the time it's 10 p.m., I am feeling super sleepy. I want to go to bed. I don't want to work anymore. 10 to 11 p.m. is my ideal sleep window. And this is not a guess even. Like Aura literally tells you what your ideal sleep window looks like. But the thing is, if I miss my sleep window, I pass 11 p.m., something happens. What happens is I get a surge of energy, and not the good kind either. It's kind of like an anxious and stressful energy. And that's because you get a cortisol and adrenaline spike once you miss your sleep window. Now we got to think, why is this? It's because in the ancient past, if you missed your sleep window, it probably means that there's a reason for it. Either you're going on the hunt, or maybe you're being hunted, right? You might have a real physical threat which you need to overcome now. I've done nighttime trainings before, and if you're on the hunt past your bedtime, like you have this amazing rush of energy, especially if you're with other guys who are also feeling this at the same time. You put in the peppuccinos and then you just go. And this is just a picture of the thermals, like the thermal sights on a certain weapon system. If you do this on a chronic basis, if you do this on a daily basis, you're signing up yourself for disaster. This is what it will feel like when you've been up all night looking at memes and you start to hear the birds chirping. I've done this. It feels horrible. And then me every night ignoring my sleep schedule and choosing to run through traumatic thoughts and what I would do in an unlikely scenario. Like if this is you, then we need to solve this problem now. So here's exactly what I want you to do. You take your bedtime. For me, it's 11 p.m. And you think, what time is it? 45 minutes prior to that. 45 minutes before 11 p.m. is 10:15 p.m. What you do is you set an alarm for 10:15 p.m. and you set the snooze timer for exactly 15 minutes. So what happens is at 10:15 p.m. every single night, this alarm goes off. And when it goes off, I know that my sleep window is going to open in exactly 45 minutes. So I need to start moving. And what I do first is, let me get my pen so I can draw. I will wrap up the day's work, right? Whatever I'm pursuing right now, I'll just wrap it up, get it done with, close my laptop, put it aside, and then the alarm will go off again in 15 minutes because I hit snooze, right? I hit snooze when the alarm goes on at 10:15 so that it goes off again at 10:30. And then when it goes off at 10:30, I hit snooze again, which means I have another 15-minute window to do my hygiene stuff. So use the bathroom, brush my teeth, floss my teeth, like whatever stuff I need to do, right? That's the hygiene 15-minute block. And the alarm will of course go off again because I just hit snooze. I didn't turn off the alarm. It'll go off again at 10:45 p.m. And when it does, I'm like, okay, I only have 15 minutes left before the sleep window opens. And I will do my PTT, which is what we talked about first, right? This journal. And then that will take a maximum of 15 minutes. And by that time, I'm in bed. And then 11 p.m., the alarm goes off for the final time. I switch the alarm off, and that's it. I'm done. So 45 minutes, I'm basically closed out my day completely. And this allows me to fall asleep fast. And if I know for a fact that if I miss my sleep window, I'm borrowing from tomorrow to feed today, which is just not a good position to be in. And the thing is, to make this work for you, you got to make it into a game. Make it fun. Like how many days in a row can you hit your sleep window? How many days in a row can you be in bed within your sleep window? So oftentimes progress is hard and progress is difficult, but that doesn't mean that progress has to be unpleasant. You can absolutely make it fun by doing things like this. So with that, boys, let's go to the action step. Here is the action step I want you to do right now. You already are probably on your phone, and if you're not on your phone, grab your phone and choose your bedtime, and then set your alarm 45 minutes prior to that bedtime and set the snooze for 15 minutes. You can literally do this technique today. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do it. So set the alarm right now. Pause this video, set the alarm, and then we can proceed because I have some more juicy concepts for you, boys. I have a bonus for you. A bonus. Indeed, I am being generous. If you're hard in pursuit of your life goals, right? You're progressing in your career, you're grinding it out in college potentially, or if you own your own business especially, you do run a risk of burnout. Most people are here. Most people work during the day, but they get insufficient sleep, so their stress is not mitigated. They work more during the next day, but they already start off with a amount of built up stress from the day prior, and they keep building up stress, and then they sleep, but their sleep is insufficient, so their stress is not completely purged. And they work the next day, and then they're building off a higher balance, and they're almost at burnout. And they do this one more time, well, they go up here, and they burn out. So basically, if you don't balance the stress coming in and your sleep levels, you're on a trajectory towards burnout. But there's another huge faction of people who live down here, who are underworked. They feel unfulfilled because they're just not stressed enough. This is the feeling of like, I need to do more, I need to lock in. This is where that comes from. And then there's a small fraction of people who are living in the Goldilocks zone, which is the area between the overworked and underworked categories. This you can sustain for a long time and feel fulfilled. So we shouldn't really see stress as bad. It's stress accumulation which is bad. And if you don't have enough stress, you'll be unfulfilled. If you have the right amount of stress and you're able to manage it well, you'll be fulfilled. And if you have too much stress coming in and you aren't able to manage it, you will burn out. You've probably seen this equation before, which is calories in minus calories out equals delta calories. In other words, calories accumulation, change in calories. But of course, we're not talking about calories here, we're talking about stress. So stress in minus stress out equals delta stress. So stress accumulation. The thing is, if you are in your 20s and 30s, you cannot reduce stress. Like, you should be stressed right now. You should be taking in a lot of work right now. The 2 decades between your 20th birthday and your 40th birthday, that is the most golden time of your entire life. You're at peak attractiveness and you're at peak growth potential. How you spend your 20s and 30s determines what clothes you wear, what electronics you can buy, what kind of vacations you can take. Can you travel? Can you see Rome? Can you see the Grand Canyon? Can you see Thailand? Can you see Alaska? Can you see all the beauty that is in the world before you die? That is determined by these 2 decades. Not just this, right? Can you retire your parents? Well, even your dating pool, right? Who can you date? Who can you marry? What kind of kids? The genetic lineage of your kids rides on this. Once you have kids, well, what can you invest in them? How can you bring them up? What opportunities can you afford them? All of this rides on what you do right now. So you cannot reduce your stress, but you certainly can maximize the stress out, as in like how much stress is being released out of your system. If you're able to equate your stress out and stress in, then delta stress will be 0. You can't burn out on 8 hours of sleep. You cannot burn out on 8 hours of sleep. I've never seen it happen among the massive data set that we have. We have worked with everybody. We have worked with plumbers, entrepreneurs, electricians, military guys, software engineers, musicians, sales guys, game devs. It doesn't matter. The underlying biology is the same, even if your profession is different. The only exception is like serious medical conditions, right? So what's the lesson here? Let's look at this. You don't work less. You just sleep more. Volume negates luck. In the same exact way that in business advice they tell you volume negates luck, same way that if you're going to the gym and trying to build muscle, volume negates luck, same way for sleep. Volume negates luck. It's almost like a generalized rule of behavior change is volume negates luck. So what's the action step? You need to allocate 8 to 9 hours time in bed. Time in bed is not necessarily the time you sleep, because like we discussed, sleep latency, right? So if you want to sleep for 7 to 8 hours, you need to allocate 8 to 9 hours in bed. And this is how I see it, is 7 to 8 hours allocation. That gives you self-confidence. You're able to make good decisions. You have hope for the future. And like, you behave in a different way and people are able to observe that and they treat you differently as a result. And let's see. Diverging paths. Diverging paths. Which one should we take first? Maybe the top one. No. We'll take the bottom one. This is our tier list again. Just a quick reminder that be on the lookout for the next video. I will link that in the pinned comment as well. Let's go back up and follow the other path, because we have a brand new concept for you boys. A woodpecker. What is a woodpecker? It's in the name. It is something which pecks wood. The entire purpose of a woodpecker, its instincts, its biology is geared towards pecking wood. It's in the name. So you take this woodpecker, you shrink him down, and you take him and you put him into this cage. What happens then? What if this woodpecker is in a cage and is denied the ability to peck wood? Do you think that this woodpecker is going to be able to sleep well at night? Because sleep is a reward for a day spent in pursuit of your goal. So in other words, if you're feeling unfulfilled and unspent when you're hitting the bed at night, it means that you're probably not strongly in pursuit of your goal. You're not satisfied with what you did during the day. Because everybody has felt this at some point, which is you have this amazing day of work, you made a lot of progress, and then when you lay down in bed, you just fall asleep so easily, and when you wake up in the morning, you feel absolutely ready to crush it another time. We've all had phases of this, but to sustain this long term, to sustain this over months and years, that is the game. Hell, yesterday night, I fell asleep pretty easily because I hit some key important business milestones for myself, but also, like, I made this video. And hey, I thought it was good. I hope that you do too. Speaking of this video, I've never done this kind of format before. Tell me what your thoughts are, especially if you're a long-time subscriber of my channel. What do you think of this new format? Should I pursue this? Should I go back to the old? You tell me. And here's a key lesson here, which is if you want to change your outputs, you need to change your inputs. And if you want to take an absolute sledgehammer to your behavior cage, which you're stuck in, then there is something I can propose to you. You might want to try out the blood and behavior advisory. Again, imagine you had an advisor whose entire job was to give you one-on-one personalized guidance. Would that change your behaviors? Well, if you think that the answer might be yes, then click on the link in the pinned comment. That'll take you to this video. We'll answer who's this for, how does it work, what does it cost, when can I start? We'll answer these questions in less than 10 minutes, and you'll be able to book a call with an advisor and discuss with him before you even get started. If you want to win, you must lean in.